So in this video, we're going to talk about HYBE and Belief Lab's latest legal move. A US court order that forces X or Twitter to hand over the identity of an anonymous user who has written more than 3,000 defamatory messages against HYBE. And we will look at how this connects to the ongoing feud with Min Hee-jin, and why the case moved so much faster than HYBE's last big lawsuit against YouTube channels, and what the disappearance of this specific account could potentially mean. Okay, so here is an article that was released today, September 19th, by a Korean media agency called SeoulWire. HYBE and Belief Lab gain access to an anonymous social media account who has written more than 3,000 defamatory posts. U.S. court approves disclosure of anonymous X user's identity and evidence collection for a Korean civil lawsuit now possible, Min Hee-jin also mentioned. All right, you ready? HYBE and its label, Belief Lab, will obtain identifying information on an anonymous X user who spread more than 3,000 false and defamatory claims. A U.S. court has approved their petition for discovery, allowing evidence to be used in their ongoing civil lawsuit in Korea. On September 12th, local time, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California granted HYBE and Belief Lab's application under 28 U.S.C. 1782 in a modified form. The court authorized X to provide the companies with minimum identifying details of the anonymous user, known as, with the handle, "We believe in bots." Interesting handle. This will accelerate their process of identifying the defendant in the defamation lawsuit already filed at the Seoul-centric district court. Once HYBE and Belief Lab serve a subpoena to X, the platform must provide the requested information within 30 days. Within 10 days of being served, X is also required to notify the affected anonymous user, who, along with X, has 21 days to file a motion to quash or modify the order. The court limited the disclosure to only essential identifying information, such as name, date of birth, email, contact details, partial access logs, and payment method holder, while excluding sensitive data like message content, full card numbers, or transaction histories. HYBE and Belief Lab had filed a civil lawsuit in Korea on August 8th against the user. According to their petition, the account had posted roughly 3,063 messages since March of this year, repeatedly making defamatory claims such as forcing artists to attend political events, deleting evidence, and covering up abuse. The complaint also referenced Min Hee-jin, former Adore CEO, currently in a legal dispute with HYBE, and the girl group NewJeans. Because X is beyond the jurisdiction of Korean courts, there were limits to identifying the anonymous user solely through domestic procedures. The discovery mechanism under U.S. law allows a court to order an information holder, in this case X, to disclose data for use in foreign proceedings, providing a faster alternative to a traditional judicial cooperation request. Shinwon law firm, representing HYBE and Belief Lab, said in the complaint, "Some internet users who claim to support Min Hee-jin or NewJeans continue to attack our clients online. They unilaterally echo Min Hee-jin's position through SNS, social media, spread falsehood about our clients, and publish indiscriminate defamatory posts." And there was an article. Interesting that this time HYBE is hiring Shinwon law firm, different from 김앤장, 법무법인 Shinwon. Interesting. Okay, I might have to look into this. All right. Oh, okay. Maybe their specialty lies in this area. Practical areas. Entertainment, and intellectual property. Okay, cool. I'll look into it and let you know if I find anything interesting. All right, back to today's content. So here is a document that was mentioned, actually attached in the article. I have to dig deeper and find the actual copy. So here it is: United States District Court, Central District of California, Western Division. This matter comes before the court on the, so this document is a U.S. District Court order from the Central District of California, and it involves HYBE and Belief Lab, who filed what's called an ex parte application under U.S. law. And that law allows, again, companies or individuals involved in lawsuits outside the U.S. to ask an American court for help in gathering evidence. And in this case, HYBE and Belief Lab are seeking information for use in civil litigation in Korea. So this is basically what the article just described. And the court granted their request on September 2nd, but with some conditions. The order allows HYBE and Belief to serve subpoenas on X, the core, to obtain information about certain users, but there are safeguards in place for those users. X must notify any affected accounts within 10 days if their identifying information is being is being sought. Okay, and those users then have 21 days to challenge the subpoena in court by filing a motion to block or change it. And if no one objects within that time, X must turn over the information to HYBE and Belief Lab within 3 days. And the court also states that it will continue to oversee the matter. So in simple terms, this means that HYBE and Belief Lab now have the legal power to try to uncover the identities of anonymous X Twitter accounts that they believe are spreading harmful information about them. And at the same time, the court is making sure users get notice and a fair chance to fight the disclosure before their information is released. Now, what is really interesting here is that this isn't the first time HYBE has taken this exact legal route. And if you've been my subscriber, you know I have talked about this before multiple times. So earlier this year, in February, HYBE went after several YouTube channels that were spreading negative content about ILLIT and SSERAFIM. Okay, so here's an article from February of this year, 2025. And they use the same US law, section 1782. But in that case, they targeted Google, asking the court to force Google to hand over YouTuber account information because Google is a parent company for YouTube. And the lawsuit in Korea was filed at the end of August 2024. The US subpoena got approved in late November, and it wasn't until February 2025 that HYBE could finally name one of the defendants. So here is an actual excerpt from this article, also by the same journalist, by the same Korean media agency, Seoul Wire. So I guess they are pretty quick with obtaining U.S. legal related documents. Maybe they're using like the platform such as Court Listener. I don't know, but it was interesting. So back in February 2025, HYBE successfully identified the operator of a YouTube channel accused of spreading malicious claims against its artist, allowing it to resume a 280 million Korean won lawsuit, damage lawsuit. Million, 100만, 1,000만, yes. This breakthrough came after a U.S. court granted HYBE's request for discovery under 28 U.S.C. 1782, compelling Google to disclose account information. On February 20th, HYBE submitted an amendment to the Seoul Western District Court, officially naming one of the defendants. The case had originally been filed in August 2024 by HYBE, Belief Lab, and Source Music, seeking damages from 7 YouTube channels that allegedly defamed HYBE's artist. And the channels in question included Cute Rabbitjang, Enterpig, Peoplebox, Daishu, NewJeans Fam, Ishu10, and Wang Jimishu. According to the complaints, these channels spread claims that Belief Labs group ILLIT plagiarized other artists' content, and that Source Music's SSERAFIM members lacked, they accused them of being like all sorts of things. After Judge Donna M. Ryu of the Northern District of California approved HYBE's subpoena request against Google in November 2024. Google provided identifying data. By December 10th, HYBE has submitted a verification report to the Korean court. In February, they confirmed that one defendant was in fact a corporate entity, suggesting the involvement of a professional operation that monetized negative K-pop content. And indeed, it was in fact Fastube. And I believe that HYBE's lawsuit, legal battle, with this particular company that I have covered on my channel, who operated the YouTube channels Daishu and Peoplebox, who created a bunch of defamatory contents against HYBE and their artists last year. And yeah, I haven't heard any new updates about the lawsuit, but anyways, that was also discussed on my channel. Okay, now here's something interesting. Compare that to what just happened now with X. So HYBE and Belief Lab filed their defamation lawsuit in Korea on August 8th, right? And by September 2nd, less than a month later, the US court had already approved their discovery request. And that's lightning fast compared to the first or the previous case that we know about, the article that we just discussed. And the difference tells us something important, I think. HYBE's legal team is getting faster and more efficient at using US courts to unmask anonymous accounts, I think. I don't know, maybe the interpretation could be different. And the judges are also familiar with these kinds of petitions now, and by narrowing the scope of information they're asking for, they were able to move this case forward much more quickly. Because using this method, the discovery system, is pretty recent thing. And in fact, a specific Korean lawyer who was fighting for Starship Entertainment, against a YouTuber. What was her name? What was her YouTube channel name? Sojang, right? Who made defamatory contents against a bunch of artists. But in that specific case, that lawyer was fighting on behalf of Chang Won-young of IVE. So he came up with that ingenious idea of using that system, the discovery method, to ask the US court to pressure like YouTube or Google to hand over the information. And it's been only like 2 or 3 years. And now companies, including HYBE, are more familiar with that process and more efficient. And the US court, especially the California court, is also familiar with how this is being handled. That's why I think the process is getting quicker and quicker, I think. And you can see a clear pattern here. HYBE is building a playbook. They first proved it could work with YouTube, and now they have repeated it with X or Twitter, only this time at double speed. And if this continues, I think it's going to get harder and harder for anonymous accounts or even corporations to hide behind these platforms while pushing defamatory content about HYBE's artists. And also, when it comes to this particular case, the fact that over 3,000 posts were cited about that particular anonymous user shows both the scale of the attacks and the seriousness with which HYBE viewed them. And the article specifically mentions that some of the defamatory claims referenced Min Hee-jin and NewJeans, and that ties the lawsuit directly into HYBE's ongoing courtroom battle with Min Hee-jin. In other words, this isn't just about one fan account or one account. It's part of a much bigger battle involving reputations. And HYBE is probably acting a bit, aggressively, some might say, or they're being very serious about this whole case because the other side, quote-unquote other side, has been actively spreading rumors online, which shapes public perception. And these aren't just harmless fan debates. Like a lot of the accounts HYBE is targeting or, the writings and posts that they're believing are problematic have been openly siding with Min Hee-jin and positioning themselves as NewJeans supporters, while systematically attacking HYBE and its labels and their artists. Like this comment. Let's get the facts straight. The court outright rejected those KakaoTalk logs, not only because they were clearly tampered with to support HYBE's narrative, but because they were illegally obtained. That makes them inadmissible as evidence and a blatant violation of privacy. But guess what? Well, first of all, this particular tweet argues that the KakaoTalk logs HYBE leaned on were thrown out by the court, and not only were the logs tampered with, but they were also obtained illegally, which makes them unusable in court and a violation of privacy. And you can see the tactics in the way they talk, right? Saying that the court flat out rejected HYBE's KakaoTalk evidence because it was tampered with and illegally obtained. But if you actually check the ruling from August, which we have talked about, the Korean court did accept the KakaoTalk law submitted by Source Music and specifically said what? They did not amount to a violation of the Telecommunications Privacy Act. So what is being pushed online is just not fact, legal fact. It's spin. Also, what about this one? Here's a Korean tweet. Username, inside out with a rabbit and a blue cap. And you know what that is referring to. Expansion of investigations into political and media connections. Full-scale tracking of lobbying funds involving... 7 changes that Bang Seok's life imprisonment could bring to society. Expansion of investigation into political and media connections. Full-scale tracking of lobbying funds involving politics, government, and media. Possibility of investigating collusion with major law firms like Kim and Jang. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Min Hee-jin and Min Hee-jin supporters hate Kim and Jang. Re-examination of BTS contract legality. What the heck are they talking about? This is something that infuriates armies, right? Like, why? I know you probably hate Bang Seok. Why are you bringing in BTS into your discussion? So it says, re-examination of BTS contract legality, reinvestigation of undisclosed contracts between Bang Seok and private equity funds and their relationship to BTS recontracting, possibility of BTS contract becoming invalid if information remains undisclosed, promotion of discussions on improving artists' contractual rights and status. And let me tell you, sometimes armies complain about the behaviors of fellow armies, right? But let me tell you, oftentimes, those are masked haters with masks, meaning haters pretending to be armies. Of course, there are some cases where it's not the case, that some fans indeed show problematic behaviors, like for example, being, toxic solo fans. But sometimes is actually the haters and antis pretending to be fans and trying to cause divisions within the fandom. Anyways, what else? Shift of content power from capital to art. Moving away from capital-centered production of K-content, restructuring into an artist-centered, culture-centered model, creating an opportunity for Korean pop music to be recognized as an independent entity in the global arts community. So this user is claiming that these are changes that Bang Seok's life imprisonment could bring to society. Wow. Wishful thinking to the max. So yeah, you can see the tactics in the way they talk. And that's exactly why HYBE is acting aggressively, because if these are left unchecked, these kinds of posts are repeated thousands of times across social media, start to look like accepted truth to casual readers and even international fans. And HYBE knows that in the K-pop world, perception and narrative are just as important as contracts and court rulings, and Min Hee-jin knows that too, according to her conversations logs with her VP, former VP of Adore. And that's why they are taking the fight to the U.S. courts, moving faster and harder than before, and showing that they won't let defamatory storylines dominate the conversation, I think. Now, here's a... Wait, do I have this? Let me pull it up. Give me 1 minute. I think I have it somewhere. If not, let me bring it over. Ooh. How you guys all doing? I'm doing fine. It's kind of rainy today in Korea. But I want to go for a run in the evening after or before having dinner. And I'm just talking right now to find the screenshots that I wanted to show you, but I cannot find. Where is it? If I cannot find it within 30 seconds, I'll just move on. Actually, I just found it, so I can show you right now. Alright, it is. It's not that super important, but I thought it was interesting. Alright. This is it. So, here's a screenshot from a NewJeans, allegedly, a NewJeans fan group chat. I think Kakao Talk group chat? Or Telegram? Anyways, with over 12,000 members. And this screenshot surfaced online, and it gives us a window into how fans on Min Hee-jin's side are reacting. Okay? So, let me translate for you. Forwarded from Bunnies, Korea. And this was posted at around 8 a.m. Hello everyone. I wanted to share something with you this morning. Early today, I received a message from a follower. 6 months ago, after seeing news coverage and a press conference criticizing CEO Min, they still call her Min 대표님, CEO Min, that follower got upset and left a comment aimed at the journalist. The comment apparently mixed in some harsh or inappropriate wording. They don't remember the exact content since it's been half a year. Now, 6 months later, they've been contacted by the police and told to appear for questioning because they were sued over the comment. It seems likely that HYBE filed a complaint. So I want to advise everyone here. When you see articles or YouTube videos that attack NewJeans or CEO Min, please be very careful with the tone and wording of your comments. Within this private bunny chat space, it's relatively safe to talk openly. I guess they are actively venting within this group chat. So within this private bunny chat space, it's relatively safe to talk openly, but news sites or YouTube are public platforms where not just bunnies, but the general public can see everything you post. That means you should be even more cautious. Since HYBE seems to be filing lawsuits and actively responding, you could end up in the same situation, getting contacted months later by the police over something you already forgot about. Please keep that in mind from now on and be careful. Thanks for reading this long message. Let me tell you, even if you hate someone so much and you want to, criticize someone harshly, as long as you, keep things factual and keep it classy, you'll be fine. But some people get so emotional that, they write such a hateful messages online. And even worse, they manipulate facts and spread false rumors. That's, on you, I think. Anyways, so this leaked group chat message shows that HYBE's legal actions are no longer abstract threats, but are beginning to have real consequences. And this a fan, recounts being contacted by the police 6 months after posting a harsh comment about a journalist. And the way the story is told makes it clear that HYBE is actively filing complaints and pushing them forward. And that revelation is creating a kind of chilling effect inside pro-Min Hee-jin spaces, I guess. The tone of this message we're looking at is pretty cautious, almost like a warning. People are told that it is safer to speak freely within a closed bunny chat, but that anything posted on YouTube or under news articles is dangerous because HYBE is monitoring those spaces. And what this reveals is that even within fandom communities, there is a sharp awareness let me say, quote unquote, fandom communities. There's a awareness now of the legal tripwires involved in speaking too recklessly. And I guess rather than giving up their position, some individuals are adapting their behavior, like keeping their criticism private while being more careful in public forums. And I guess this distinction between private and public talk kind of reflects the broader legal strategy that HYBE is pursuing. Because in Korea, the company is filing complaints that can drag individuals in police investigations months later. While in the US, it is using discovery laws to unmask anonymous X and YouTube accounts. So yeah, I guess overall, this chat, I don't know who leaked this, but it shows that HYBE's lawsuits are not only about punishing past defamation, but also about shaping future behavior, like by showing that a forgotten comment can still come back in the form of a police summons. HYBE is sending a message to the wider community that reckless posts are not without consequence, and that explains why accounts aligned with Min Hee-jin are now warning each other to watch their words. So I thought that was interesting. Now, here's something else that caught my eye. So the account specifically named in the court document and the article with the handle "We Believe in Bots" is suddenly gone. If you search for it now, all you see is a message saying that the account doesn't exist anymore. 계정이 존재하지 않음. And the timing is, hard to ignore. Like the US court order went public, Korean media reported on it, and almost immediately the account at the center of it disappears. Maybe the user deactivated out of fear. Maybe X suspended it after reports. We don't know for sure. But either way, the effect is the same. The moment legal action gets serious, people start scrambling. And here's the key point. Deleting your account doesn't erase the data. And under the US discovery order, X is required to hand over identifying information whether the account is active or not. And that means HYBE and Belief Lab can still get what they need. So even before HYBE has officially received the data, their legal strategy is already changing behavior online. Accounts vanish, users potentially panic, and the message spreads that hiding behind anonymity won't necessarily protect you anymore. And here's something else even more telling about the account named in the court documents. So the handle is "We Believe in Bots," but if you look closely, the displayed username is "We Believe in warosa," and that word warosa, GWAROSA, which means death from overwork in Korean, isn't random because it's a direct jab at HYBE. Why? Because last year, if you remember, in October 2024, HYBE was dragged into a political firestorm over allegations that it tried to cover up an employee's death. So this was something. So during a National Assembly hearing, one of the representatives, lawmakers, Chung Hae-kyung, she accused HYBE of hiding the fact that a staff member had collapsed at the office in 2022 and later passed away. And HYBE's chief HR officer, and at the time she was the Adore CEO, Kim Joo-young, she denied any cover-up, explaining that the individual's parents had declined an autopsy and that the death was tied to a personal illness, not overwork. But the issue gained traction because NewJeans member Honey appeared at the same hearing about that, ignore her comment, right? And gave emotional testimony about, alleged workplace bullying and hostility from staff. And that combination, like a supposed cover-up and an idol speaking out, created noise, and anti-HYBE voices seized on it. And fast forward just 2 months later, in December 2024, the Ministry of Employment and Labor officially closed the investigation. And yes, I have talked all about these on my channel. And they concluded there was no legal violation. no evidence of a cover-up, and no basis to classify the death as a workplace accident, since the family had not filed an industrial accident claim. And the same investigation also found that claims of workplace harassment against NewJeans couldn't be applied under Korean labor law because idols are not legally recognized as employees. So legally, the case ended with no wrongdoing on HYBE's part. But the political noise and media attention lingered. And clearly, some of Min Hee-jin's supporters weaponized that narrative. And you can see it, again, right in the username. We believe in warosa, basically saying we believe in the overwork death story. That's how I interpret it, this specific account's username. And it's propaganda, a way of, keeping a closed case alive online to smear HYBE's reputation. And this is why today's discovery order is pretty significant. HYBE isn't just fighting trolls one by one. They are up against organized narratives that are built around past controversies, and even ones that were officially cleared. And by unmasking accounts like this, HYBE is sending a message. Again, if you base your attacks on half-truths or already closed cases or just simple rumors, you don't get to hide behind anonymity forever. And we can't, of course, leave out the role of Team Bunnies, which is a group or an individual that has styled themselves as the leader of so-called NewJeans supporters and Min Hee-jin supporters. And they have positioned themselves as something like, I don't know, again, leaders within this conflict, even though many official Bunny fandom members don't actually accept them as representative. And back in October 2004, last year, Team Bunnies made headlines when they filed a criminal complaint against executives at both HYBE and Adore. And they accused senior management, including Adore CEO Kim Joo-young and HYBE's head of PR, of breach of trust, obstruction of business, invasion of privacy, and defamation. And their argument was that NewJeans members have been subjected to internal bullying and data leaks, and that management failed to act. And at the time, they framed themselves as stepping up because, according to them, HYBE ignored repeated requests for action. But it turns out that these accusations were all cleared, according to HYBE, as we recently learned. But less than a year later, in July 2005, Team Bunnies themselves ended up in legal trouble. Police sent one of their representatives to prosecutors for violating South Korea's donation law because the group had raised over 51 million Korean won in just 8 hours, claiming the money would be used to track down malicious commenters. But under Korean law, any fundraising over 10 million won must be registered with the authorities, and they never filed. And that means that they were running an unlicensed fundraising campaign, which is punishable by up to 3 years in prison or a hefty fine. And this is where the irony sets in. Min Hee-jin herself had praised Team Bunnies publicly during her Hyundai card event, correct? Saying that Team Bunnies appeared like Hong Gil-dong, like a Korean folk hero, Robin Hood, to rescue her. And she called them a mysterious but deeply grateful presence. Yet the same group she embraced has now been exposed for illegal fundraising and questionable practices. I don't know the updates from this case, but I did see that Team Bunnies shared some posts on X. Apparently, they attended the legal battle between Min Hee-jin and HYBE that happened last week, and they attended that in person and recorded it, and then they wrote down what was going on, like what Chung Jin-soo and Min Hee-jin said verbatim on X. So yeah, this is a very interesting entity. And again, even within the fandom, Bunnies, the standing of Team Bunnies is controversial because some official bunnies have gone on record telling HYBE that Team Bunnies does not represent the whole fan base. And there was also backlash that when they inserted themselves into brand events like Indomie's pop-up store linked to NewJeans, where they gathered names, phone numbers, and emails, which raised concerns about data misuse. And what's striking is how Team Bunnies always describes themselves. They claim to be a network of professionals from law, media, finance, and the arts united to support NewJeans. And as Min Hee-jin once said, they move in secret and operate like shadows. And they even met directly with NewJeans' parents and lawyers after Adore lost its... wait, was it? Anyways, they met with NewJeans' parents and lawyers, which itself is kind of weird. But who knows the identity of this user or Team Bunnies? Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. Anyways, on the one hand, they're a vocal, aggressive player back in Min Hee-jin. On the other, they're now tainted by their own legal problems, caught in the same cycle of scrutiny and exposure. They once tried to turn against HYBE. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, I don't know, I'm not sure whether HYBE is targeting Team Bunnies as well. Try to uncover the identity of them through the discovery laws. Maybe they have, maybe they are, maybe we will figure out. So we'll have to see. So when you put it all together, the lawsuits in Korea, the discovery orders in the US, and the vanishing accounts, it's clear that HYBE is escalating. They're not just fighting random haters. They are targeting organized narratives designed to damage the company and its artists. And the big question now is how far this battle will go. Will HYBE's legal strategy actually silence defamatory voices? Or will it deepen the divide with fans who see themselves as fighting for Min Hee-jin? And when accounts vanish and groups like Team Bunnies, keep acting the way they act, or when they stumble, like in this case with legal troubles, does it discourage others from spreading rumors, or does it only push the conflict further underground? What do you think? Is HYBE winning, or are we entering a new phase of escalation? Let me know your thoughts by writing in the comment section. As always, let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. All right? Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.